Hi, everybody. This is Leticia coming to you today with another edition of my weekly Money Matters webinars. And as announced a bit earlier today, I have joining me on the call today my lovely lady friend Silvia. Silvia Valdman is a lady I had the opportunity to meet while living in Toronto. And she is a former immigration lawyer with an almost 20-year experience as a lawyer. However, about 3 years ago, she became a mom, so that was a major life change, and she wanted to have some flexibility around her lifestyle. She wanted the ability to work from home, and little did she know how helpful that would become, throughout this whole past year that we've been living through. And Sylvia is joining us today from a cabin in Switzerland. Yeah, Sylvia wanted to get away a little bit from the big city craziness, but right now you're telling me you're finding it a little too quiet over there.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so hopefully soon she'll be able to join us in sunny Mexico.
I hope so, soon.
Anyway, so Sylvia has an interesting story because, as mentioned, after working as a lawyer for so many years, she was looking for some more flexibility in her lifestyle, and she sort of, by chance, came across the mystery shopping industry, and amazingly, this whole world is just something that she wasn't even aware of, just like I wasn't even aware of it, and yet that's how Sylvia makes her living now. And I figured today's webinar would be interesting for people because many of us these days are looking for ways to supplement our income, and also the idea of being able to work from home, location independent, getting paid in USD. It's not a bad thing, right? So
yeah, although crypto would be the nicer. I think my goal will be to find out if there are any companies that will be paying in crypto soon, but we'll see.
That would be awesome. And Sylvia is also joining us for the Get Started with Crypto webinar that I'm hosting tomorrow. You guys know about that already. So Sylvia, tell us a little bit of, first of all, if you don't mind, define for our audience what is a mystery shopper, because it's as mysterious as the name. What is that?
Right. Well, I mean, I guess it's commonly. Oh, there's an echo. Can you hear me? Oh,
Don't worry.
I mean, really, it's, I guess, what people know or have heard or what they'll Google is mystery shopper or secret shopper. I mean, those are sort of the two words that that are commonly used in the industry. I think a better word that has probably less negative connotations, because when people hear that, they think it's something about sending money and then getting money back, or I don't. People think all sorts of negative things when I've actually told them, what I do now or what I started doing about 5 years ago. So basically, I would call it more like service and brand auditing. Like basically, you're helping companies, usually large companies, franchises, McDonald's, Walmart, all those type of companies. You're helping them with, assess their customer service or improve their customer service, essentially, by playing a role, so to speak, and then giving a factual report, right? So, that's kind of what I like. I like to use the word service and brand auditor. Sounds a little bit less, sort of mysterious or I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. So could you give us an example? I know in a private conversation you kind of explained it to me, but for people in the audience who may not even know what this is about, can you give us an example of some of the jobs that you would have to do?
Right.
Why not have to, but rather choose to do?
Right, exactly. So, so essentially, I first started, doing them, how would you call it, like in-person shops. And the industry kind of calls things shops, even if it's not a shop. But I would do them in person. So there's really anything you can think of where you're assessing customer service or you're assessing a brand, it is really up for grabs, right? So some of the types of examples that I've done would be everything from what people think about is going to a restaurant, going to a chain restaurant, not necessarily, McDonald's, I haven't done any, but, going to a chain restaurant, Red Lobster, whatever, and, basically going through the whole motion of arriving, being greeted, being basically ordering. And in that kind of a case, you will be expected to pay up front, to pay for the meal up front, and then get reimbursed as long as you do the report, on time and properly, etc. What they're looking for in terms of,
Right.
were you greeted? Did the food come on time? The kinds of things that you can imagine.
Okay.
Sorry, turning on the light. I've also done everything from retail. I mean, again, basic retail, going into a store to pretend you're buying a shirt and I don't actually have to buy it. I'm just getting paid for the report. So, going through the motions of, I'm looking for something for camping. What do you suggest? Or that kind of thing.
Now that's more the in-person.
Gas stations. I've done gas stations, assessing, do they ask you for the loyalty card? Did they ring up your purchase quickly and efficiently? Did they say hello? Were they wearing a name tag? I mean, yeah, pretty much anything you can imagine between restaurants, gas stations, retail.
Got it. So this is more the in-person. That's more like the traditional,
exactly.
the traditional mystery shopper, where you're, the unsuspected potential shopper that goes in, but you're actually doing, as you said, the brand auditing.
Right.
So give us some examples of the kind of stuff that you've been doing most recently, which is mostly remote work opportunities.
Right. So as I say, I started with that because that was a few years ago. I kind of got into it sort of because somebody had asked me to do something. An old friend from high school who basically owns one of the larger Canadian companies, and then it segued into some occasional online inquiry shops and phone shops, really only a couple of years ago. And again, I started with the in-person because that's how it started for me. It doesn't have to, but that's typically how a lot of online and phone mystery shoppers will start, because they get the sort of idea of how the shops are supposed to go, whether they're in person or like on the phone, essentially. So, essentially you can do like online inquiries. And again, you can imagine the kind of, especially now, sorry, I'm turning on the lights on the time. It's a European thing with the lights and kind of, and so basically you can imagine like online inquiries, like rental apartment shops, phone, Bell, Rogers, I'm naming those kind of companies where you're doing online inquiries or online chat interactions, where then, again, you have to go through a scenario, and sort of then do the report, and with certain screenshots, for example. And then the phone shops are the thing that I really, for the last 2 years, really do pretty much on a full-time basis. Essentially, you're different companies will have different types of shops, but essentially the bulk of the work that I do right now is for a US-based company that essentially is more like HR training. So that what they do is, of course, they have mystery shoppers who pretend to be a potential renter for an apartment building, complex, again, all over the United States. And essentially, you go through you just pretend you're looking for an apartment. And typically the calls will last like really a minute and a half to 5 minutes. Typically, we're not talking about like 30-minute phone calls. So you can imagine in the real world what that would entail. You say, hi, I'm looking for an apartment. And then again, the issue is you do less talking, and you let the leasing person either, ask you the questions they're supposed to ask you in terms of good customer service, right? Or not, and then that's okay, right? And then it gets recorded, and there's just, again, there's online kind of portals where it all gets recorded, so you don't have to like invest in like equipment and stuff like that. And then you do like a little report afterwards, and again, the report takes like a minute or two. Most of the answers are yes and no, or require
like a survey you have to fill out.
Sentence answers. 1-2 sentences.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Where did they ask your name? Did they ask what apartment size? What apartment size you wanted? Did they invite you to come visit? Did they invite you to do a virtual tour? Did they ask for your contact information? The type of things you can imagine in the sales process, right? Or in the in the customer service process. So that's the bulk of them that I do, but there are others. And again, so then you can imagine storage companies, right? That again, you're asking about storage options. So there's a company that I do. Not a lot, but I get occasional, storage companies. I'm actually just trying to think. And as we're talking, I was looking in my email, because I still get emails from different companies. And
And you're going to talk about that and how you've been getting all the different jobs. I know you are.
Bell Rogers, another one that I've done and that I've actually referred to another friend who's done a few of them is, and they pay an American, is calling up a payroll company and basically pretending you own a company and wanting to see what kind of services they'll offer you and how much they follow up. And actually those pay really well. They pay about 25 to 30 bucks US, and it's not overly complex. I mean, it takes you again, when you start, they're going to take longer to do the reports, right? But it takes me maybe 20, 30 minutes, essentially, so there's different online opportunities, exactly, in terms of online inquiries or phone call mystery shopping, exactly.
Got it. So Silvia, when you first started, you shared with me privately that when you first started, you were just like not even taking this seriously, like you didn't realize that you thought.
And I actually had a couple of failed shops, which means I did it and I didn't get paid. So I'm almost embarrassed to say that.
Because you didn't understand, like it's actually a legitimate industry, and then you found out it's actually a multi-billion-dollar industry.
It's like I was trying to Google it, and I found something because I'm in Europe and I wasn't using a VPN. So I got something from 2005 saying it's like a $500 million industry. So I'm sure it's like a whatever globally it's whatever the official stats are, like, meaning it's a billion whatever dollar industry, which is crazy. Not crazy,
and there are multiple opportunities, and then so for somebody
tons.
Yeah, that's so interesting, Silvia. And again, because we are now living this digital world, many people are looking for ways to at least maybe supplement their income, or possibly even replace their current income. In addition to that, people are looking perhaps to be able to have location independence, because especially in these times that we've been in, so having this work has allowed you to be able to literally live anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the majority of jobs that you do actually pay you in USD.
Yes.
And you work about 5 hours a day, you told me these days. And you're averaging about 2K USD per month. Okay. And that's and to some people that may not seem like a lot of cash, but if you're living in Mexico, thank you, Jimmy. If you're living in Mexico, that's like how much a doctor earns here. Okay. Maybe not in Playa del Carmen, but somewhere else. So part of the reason for my show is I want to empower people around their finances. And when you told me your story, I was so fascinated, and I think it's just like an untapped opportunity that like so many people have no idea about. So let me ask you, Silvia, when you first started, did you just start taking a few jobs and then it kind of built up from there?
Of course. It's like anything, right? Like anything, how do I say it? It's like anything, right? What you focus on expands, and what you don't focus on doesn't expand. So when I first started, like I said, I was still practicing law, although I didn't like it.
You were just kind of done it over with. You were just even though I'm sure you earn maybe more money as a lawyer, but there's a cost to that. And anybody who's been in the legal profession, the long hours, the stress, the red tape,
So I was increasingly not liking law. So when I first started, started the mystery shopping. I did like one job, and I didn't take it seriously. Like, what I mean is, I did it for this friend. It wasn't even a shopping; it was actually an audit. So again, part of it was an actual audit. It was like how do I say it? It was like I had to go verify certain things, whatever. So it wasn't really mystery shopping, but it's part of the umbrella of, like I said, I call it quality checking, verification, auditing service. So, I didn't take it seriously. So it started with one shop, right? But like I said, so essentially, then when I, again, increasingly wasn't liking law, and I would sort of, in the wee hours of the night, Google, and then sort of, again, discover things here and there. It wasn't like this roadmap, right? Discovered, like some Facebook groups, right? There are other companies because I only signed up for that one company. I had no clue, right? And I would get it, and then it started with that company, right? Then they would say, you live, and again, these were physical shops, not the online, right? But they'd say, there's a shop close, can you do this? And again, it was very occasional. And then, like I said, it increasingly got into actually online for this company too. I had a few, they were like, we have some online. I'm like, okay, what's that? I had no idea. Right? So so it's only one or two or three shops. And then, like I said, I mean, it's sort of, then it exponentially, then, then I'd be spending 1-2 hours researching and signing up for another 3, another 5, and, but like anything, I mean, I'm probably signed up for it, and it's going to sound crazy. I actually lost track. I had in my notes to be organized. I'm really not that organized. I'm not as organized for keeping track as I should have, in a spreadsheet. But I mean, I'm probably signed up for 100 companies, which actually isn't even a lot.
Wow.
I'm signed up for 100 companies, but really I ended up only physically doing shops for maybe 20 or 30 every 1, 2, 3 months, kind of the cycle of shops. Mm-hmm. And for the phone call shops, that's what, the phone call shops, although when I was going through preparing for this, there are actually many companies. Now, the main one is the one that I talked about the apartment stuff. So that's the bulk of the work, because it's just regular and there's just a lot of shops, and I'm reliable, and it's become kind of like a full-time thing. Yeah. But there are other companies that I still do phone call shops for, because I never want to put eggs in one basket. So there are at least 10 or 15 that I'll get, again, not that many, but I'll get like 2 or 3 a month, 2 or 3 another month. And I mean, the industry is always, exactly. And the industry is always like changing, right? The industry is not static, right? So what I mean is, especially with the COVID stuff, right? So for example, a lot of companies that never did online phone calls or virtual shops, it brought them in, introduced them, right, to make money. Yeah. So it's, I mean, the industry is not necessarily volatile, but it's ever changing. Obviously, the companies, the people that are trying to get new clients are every month, whatever. I don't know this personally, but for every week, trying to bring on new clients. And the cycle is usually for shops, the cycle is obviously every month. You can imagine, just like rent and, every month or every quarter, right? So they'll have their, for the next 90 days, these are the shops that the client, wants to have done or whatever. They're on their job boards or sending out emails, and looking to get them done, reviewed, submitted, whatever, to the client, right? Which is, like I said, whatever company.
Got it. Now, I just want to make it clear, Silvia, for people who are watching and again are wondering how this whole industry may work and if they could participate in it. You are nobody's employee. You are basically an independent contractor. Yeah. You can choose to take jobs or choose to decline them whenever you want. You have signed yourself up with a number of these mystery shopping companies, and then you're going to talk to us about that and where people can get started. I'm very grateful that you chose to come on today's call and share your knowledge, because of course you're going to be saving people a lot of time. Like somebody who wanted to get started and they would have to start from scratch. Where do I even start? So that's very generous of you, Silvia. Thank you so much again for sharing your knowledge with us. So, but yeah, I wanted to just make the point that you're self-employed, you're an independent contractor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when you start signing up for jobs, you mentioned to me that it's not a bad idea to sign up with your Canadian or U.S. address. Now, some of these companies are global in scope, right? So could a European citizen sign up with their European address?
They could, yeah. So I mean, the answer is, yeah. I mean, you're touching on some of it. I mean, the notes are, we're going off. Doesn't matter, off script. I'm not really a script person, but I mean, yeah. But I mean, essentially, ideally, I mean, the bulk of them are, of course, American or Canadian. I say, of course, like American and Canadian, because that's where, I say the mass consumer. Now, that isn't true, because there's also shops. I mean, of course, in Europe and China, and companies that are doing South America, Mexico. So the truth is, you're supposed to use your authentic address, not because they're going to mail you anything, although some companies do want verification of your, I mean, in my time of signing up, I think I only ever had to provide like my driver's license or something with an address, like maybe 5 times out of and you can choose not to and then move on. So they're not going to mail you anything. They're not going to, they're not going to give you a T4 or whatever it's called in the States, the W-9.
It's up to you to declare or not declare your income. It's and you told me you can pay
your name and date of birth, and like I said, they do. Some of them do base it by where you so-called live. Now, again, I'm not telling people to lie, of course, but if they have a permanent, like me, I'm still registered with my Canadian address. I'm not physically there. Why? I mean, a lot of that is because it's also for the physical shops, right? They'll do a search by your postal code, right? By within 50 kilometers, or, I mean, so it actually makes sense. However, for the online work, right? if you have a permanent address in America or Canada that you can use, for I would say 90% of them, it's better to have, because they might, if you sign up with Mexico, they might go, oh, we only take shoppers that are resident, not even your citizenship, right? That are resident in Canada or the US. So I'm not saying for people to lie, but if they're living in Mexico, living in Thailand, whatever.
Nobody's business, my dear, where you're living, but just put your
use your friends, your mom's, whatever American, like I said, or Canadian address.
You'll figure it out.
I mean, that's
yeah. So Silvia, I know you had prepared a few slides for us. Or no, you didn't get around to it?
Well, I have notes. I mean, I could, I'm going to just look. I mean, I'll see if I can get it.
I think it would be. For people who are thinking of getting into this world,
I haven't done it on I've got too many windows open, so hold on a second. I'll sort of look at my notes and kind of, the truth is it's so hard to cover, everything, of course, it's going slow. So don't worry. I might say from, here it is. I don't know, tell me if you can see this, because let me just close some windows.
You're going to have to, at the bottom of your screen, you should see a little button that says share. If you click on that.
Okay, I did share audio or share. Yeah, I thought I already did, but it's saying application window or entire screen. So it's not letting me choose it, but I okay.
Choose maybe choose entire screen and then click on the respective window in your browser or on your screen, and let's see. Let's hope it works.
I'm trying, and exactly. Let me see. I'm just trying to close some windows down too, exactly, because I've got too many windows open too.
My goal for today's session would be I'd love for us to provide people with some practical started steps. Because again, if we're gonna help them get started in making money, working from home from any location, let's
try again. Share screen. It says share screen is easy. Okay, so I'm in the share screen. It sounds silly, but then it's not. Let me try a different one. Application Chrome. Okay. It's just not it's probably some quirky, silly. It's not letting me choose the share. Like it's only highlighting.
No, I know. So just share your entire screen, and then share your entire screen. Choose that option, and then once you're there, just select the window where your slides are. I know we should have practiced this more yesterday. So
okay. You know what? So what I'm saying. Oh, there we go. Got you. Okay, perfect.
Thanks for your patience, guys. Okay.
There, I think it's now. Is it?
Well,
is it confusing?
I'm just seeing you right now. So that's select. That's okay. Select your slides. Select your slides like on your screen. Find them wherever they are.
Yeah. Here they are. That's fine. Can you see them now?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I was seeing them a minute ago. Now,
okay. Now I don't want to.
You went on Facebook. Go back to that document.
That's what I'm trying to close down everything.
Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about whatever else you may have.
Down what I don't need.
Don't worry about that. Just click on the one screen that you wanted to share. The one document that you wanted to share.
So can you see? Can you see?
I can. It says making money in the mystery shopping world. Okay, awesome.
I didn't do formal screens. Okay. I just kind of, it was actually a good exercise for me to go through. I mean, like I said, it's basically 5 years of, bringing information together, right? So, I mean, I would say, to get started, I mean, listen, so, like I said, do as I say. Do as I say, not as I do. So, I would definitely say, first of all, set up a separate email, okay, that you'll get your notifications for and, all that stuff. You don't have to, right? But it'll make a lot of shoppers will do that just because it'll make life, sort of easier.
Of course. Yeah.
Makes sense. I have to admit, I didn't necessarily, although I have so many emails that
you didn't initially, but I hear you. No, thanks everyone for your enthusiasm. We're getting some reactions in the chat. I appreciate that. So you want to set up a separate address where you can start to use to apply as a shopper.
Exactly.
And also to get job notifications. So do they push you notifications when there's a job available once you registered with a company, Silvia?
Yeah, exactly. So that's further down. So so that's a good question. So essentially there are, I would say, what I call two major ways you'll get you can find jobs or get a job, right? You can either go onto the job portal, and I was actually going to show quickly, but I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, with the
No,
screen.
go ahead, go ahead.
Can you?
If you have it,
Okay,
if you
will
have
it
it
mess it
open,
up? Okay.
no,
Okay. Let
just
me
go
just
to
go to
the,
one. I'm trying to think of one. Okay, I'm going to go to this one, Premier Service. So this is actually a Canadian company. Actually, this is one that I've done tons of work for, including some virtual and phone calls. So I'm just going to log in to this one, and then I just want to show you what the job portal, because essentially almost all the companies use two platforms. They call them SASE, and I even forget what the other one is. Basically,
okay.
it's like a job platform. So that's what it looks like. I mean, you can imagine it's almost like an email. Oops. Oh no, what did I hit? Sorry. It's almost like an email. Okay. It's almost like, sorry, I hit something. Okay,
No,
there we
don't
go.
quit
It's
opera.
almost,
You clicked on, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's
can
good.
you see it?
Yeah.
So it's almost like an inbox, you can see. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, like on the right hand side, it kind of just has, by the way, my grading score, which I'm going to get to as a point. I have mostly, you can see 9 and 10s, which I never took
Yeah.
seriously, but that matters for getting jobs and or getting other potential work in the mystery shopping industry. But anyway, so if you go, you can see on the available missions. So I mean, in this case, and again, as I said, it's like
Available missions. Okay, yeah, on the left hand side.
yeah, or I would call it a weekly, monthly change, not necessarily daily, right? They don't post new jobs daily. They
Okay.
tend to work on a month or like I said, a quarter
Look at
cycle.
that. Yeah, and look at that. Yeah.
So I mean, there's just an example, and again, not all of them.
Yeah.
You have to sort of learn, but you can update the filters, right? You can. I mean, in this case, actually, they have very little because they must be close to the end of their quarter. They usually have tons of shops, so you can see too. You can. I mean, there's different ways. Like anything, you have to figure it out. So you can see here, in-person mystery shop, rental apartment, mystery shopping, a telephone call. They've got mystery shopping. Oh, they've got a cannabis mystery shop. That's in person. But here's one: online mystery shopping apartment inquiry. Right. So it'll bring up if there's and they never used to do these before, but they've gotten into them with the COVID stuff. So you can see there's a shop they're paying $20 for. Then you can click and get more information and then apply for it. There's another one, virtual apartment mystery shop, as an example.
Exactly. Sure.
Sorry.
I would say, when people see, oh, it's only $5, it's only $20, people will be like, well, that sounds like so little money. But you said that every job takes very little time, and you're able to just basically complete a lot of these phone calls. You mentioned to me that you use a Skype. You have you get a virtual number through Skype. So if you have to make phone calls in the US, you'll get a US phone number. If you have to make phone calls in Canada, you could use a Canadian phone number.
Exactly.
And all you really need is an internet connection.
Correct.
So I guess and you didn't have to buy any special equipment. Like, do you have a headset or something?
I do. I don't. Yeah, I do, which I should be using that. Again, I don't want to plug it in because we've had problems. Yeah, I do. I have a headset, but again, it's not a formal. It's nothing formal, right? It's just like
a regular headset. Yeah.
It's an iPhone, whatever. And like I said, most Mac computers or PC have, free recording or built-in recording of the screen and screenshots. I mean, I always do backup when I've done my virtual, for example, not my call shops, but my virtual, because I don't do many. So again, it's like anything. If you do one, like in a year, you're going to be very rusty, right? If you do, 10 a week, right? Like here's an example, right? And again, and not necessarily, I won't be able to do 10, but here's an example, just to give an example, right? There are 3 locations for these virtual apartment shops in this. It's Canadian in this case, okay? But still, they're a good company. They pay you. They're legit. If so 35 each, which is actually good pay. So what I learned along the way, and again, I didn't know this from day one. All right, I learned that it's obviously easier when you were saying about $5, $10, right? Obviously, if you can get all 3, right? And in fact, the company typically likes it because then they figure you're gonna do it correctly, and if you do it correctly, you'll do it 3 times correctly, right? And then they're happy. I say the company's happy because the client will be happy. You'll get paid, the company gets paid, the scheduler gets paid, which I'll talk about, right? And then the company's happy, right? So so I would normally say, oh wow, if I qualify, because a lot of every company has like a cycle that you can't do the shops like every month. They're either 90-day cycles that you can't do the same shop twice, or 6 months or a year. But for example, I would say, oh wow, 3 shops at 35 each, right? Oh, that's like $105, right?
Yeah.
Again, how long will that take? And again, the first shop, I mean, I laugh. The first reports, I probably spent an hour doing, a report that I got paid $15 for, or $10. So I wasn't really like quote unquote making money. I was like sort of wasting, but I was learning.
Why?
So
Was it that complicated though? Like
no,
why
because when it's new. So imagine the first time you set up an email that you don't know, right? Or a new interface of, even Proton Mail, right? When I first set up my Proton Mail, it's not that different, right? But it's not the same interface as Gmail. So it might take you sort of an extra few seconds, that's a bad example. But it's because it's new, right? So what I mean is, the first reports I wanted to make sure, actually after the first failed report, then I wanted to make really sure that, well, for obviously self-interest, that I make the money, that I do the report correctly, and I get paid, right? So I mean, it's so essentially, these kinds of reports, and again, the first time you do it, it might take you an hour and a half to complete it, right? But I could probably do it. For example, I might be able to do that whole report, which is usually like an inquiry. It'll give you instructions. It'll be either a phone call inquiry or an email inquiry. Then it'll be setting up the virtual tour, right? And the virtual tour may be 10, 12, 15 minutes. Imagine how long it would take to show an apartment, right? And then the report, again, it's maybe takes you another 10, 15 minutes or whatever. And again, like they're not wanting, PhD kind of thesis answers, right? They're very specific answers.
So,
right?
I mean, that's just an example of a job, Sylvia. Okay, and I don't want to get into the
exactly.
Bottom line, they provide you with exact instructions as to what needs to be done, and so you'll know from the instructions what the job entails. So did you happen to make a list of, I mean, I know you mentioned there are literally hundreds and maybe thousands of companies, but you mentioned that most of your jobs are coming from a handful, like, your top, let's say your top 10.
Yes. Can I just make up, I mean, it's saying the obvious just to get really quickly back, right? Separate email, separate bank account. Again, you don't have to have it, but it's easier to keep track of stuff. It sounds kind of silly, right? They're using the, Canadian or US address. PayPal, almost every company pays by PayPal. So I know some people don't like it. Some people might say, can I use Stripe? No, you're going to use whatever the company, or you don't sign up for them, right?
Yeah. So it's a perfectly legal industry, and it's not controversial. There's, as much as some people have issues with PayPal, this is not an industry where you're going to have issues of any kind. So when it comes to payments,
I'm just saying that some people say, well, I don't want to get paid through PayPal. Then you're not going to, you know what I mean? It's not negotiable, right?
Got it. Yeah. Until the industry adapts, but for now,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And again, just to make a point that you don't have, like, even though a lot of the the platforms will sort of have, again, built into their stuff, like into their information when you're signing up, right? Name, date of birth, right? And again, they and social insurance number or social security number. Again, I don't give that even for the Canadian companies, because you don't have to legally, and you just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever, whatever. Now they do ask for your age. They do ask for certain personal things, and again, they ask for it. Why? Because sometimes they're looking, even for phone call shops, they're looking for specific age range, or female or male or whatever. So again, you should have accurate information if you want to have potential for, accurate jobs. So just to, on the point of Mexico, there are some shops that require Spanish-speaking people for phone calls and stuff. So, I mean, I haven't searched them because I don't speak Spanish, fluently at all. But
if you do speak it,
they do ask you that. So you'd want to have that kind of stuff current. Exactly. So we talked about the organize. Exactly. So the pay stuff. The cycle, the pay cycle. So the pay cycle, again, you can imagine it's like any company. Typically, the pay cycle of the shop, like, I do it today, I submit it, it's been reviewed and approved, and it's in my portal saying, yep, it's all correct, everything's done. I don't get paid instantly, right? The cycles are normally 2 weeks would be nice. Most are 30 to 45-day cycles, right? Of
I see.
whatever their pay is,
Okay.
right? So, and they'll have that in their information and you can always
Okay,
check.
got it.
I don't
Got
really
it.
track anymore because they pay me and again, so
Yeah.
if you're really
Yeah.
organized, you should say, did these 3 shops at $35 today, submitted, the pay should be, I even, every company has their own pay cycle. So but yeah, usually it's about a 30, 45-day pay cycle, right? So yeah, so I can show you the top in terms of getting work, exactly. So it seems a bit.
Whether you had a few more tips there, no, feel free because
So what I was
really
saying is that sometimes people overthink things, and so of course they want to know like the who, what, where, when, how, why, which I'm giving you a quick sort of overview, right? But but it's not overly complicated.
My pleasure.
Right? I would say just start. Like what I mean is apply for one company, right, or two, right, or whatever, and create the profile. So it's going to take you 5-10 minutes, right? Again, you don't have to, it's not an overly complex, but it's an online application, right? And essentially just start, right? Don't overthink it, don't whatever. And like I said, even if you just start with a $5 or $10 a day goal from, you're not going to be making $2,000 a month from day one, right? But if you start with a $5 or $10 a day goal, it's not that impossible to find between the companies that I'm going to suggest, and there's many more you can even search, and Facebook groups and a couple of the job portals that you want, like where they aggregate, because a lot of the companies, of course, have their own portals, but they also post in Facebook groups. A lot of the schedulers, they use Facebook, of course, to find shoppers needed.
So show us. So I think this is super important. That these resources that you put together.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how you started getting jobs, and this is how you recommend other people start getting jobs. So you're saying, interestingly enough, through some Facebook groups.
Yes. So if you can search yourself, of course, mystery shopping or secret shopping. The main ones that I find are, like I said, the ones that I list, and I'm part of them. I don't, to be honest with you, like I said, like anything, I'm busy enough that I don't need to be like posting and searching in the groups anymore. But when you're starting, exactly. So, there, like I said before, obviously the first one there, the mystery shop calls, there's an actual group for that, and again, sounds crazy, right? But mystery shop calls for sure. And then the others. Now, the one here, this IMSC, it sounds kind of formal. So it's actually the lady that I work with and work for. It's called Independent Mystery Shoppers Coalition. It sounds very formal, but it's actually a great resource. So she's got a Facebook group, and there's really no regulation in the industry. So how do I say? Like, you do have to watch out for scams. But Pam, who's the lady who started this, 20 years ago. She used to be a teacher, I think. So she basically it's a $25 a year membership to be part of this IMSC. The website is down a bit. And essentially,
like
anything, it's basically just connecting to other shoppers, getting into the Facebook group, right, which has whatever 1,000. You may not want to do it, but it also has some training.
So they have their own
some training calls on the website and in previous recordings and stuff like that. So it's just a great, again, networking, right? It's networking, right? So the 4 groups that I can, and I can, again, I didn't do a formal
don't worry.
Sign up, but I can, through you or through me, they can email me at the end.
If you could send me that, and if you're okay, I would be glad to post them in the comment section to the video, in case people are ready to take action right away, and get started. Because I know it may seem a little overwhelming, but you tell them how to start. Get yourself signed up on those Facebook groups. You're going to see opportunities.
Exactly.
Now, but in terms of the actual companies, because you mentioned, you're signed up with some 100 companies.
They're at the end. Yeah, I have them. I have a bunch of them at the end. Just at the end. Yeah.
How did you even find out about all those companies? Are they listed on that Independent Mystery Shoppers Coalition?
So I'd love to say that there's one sort of mystery shopping Bible, although there are people who have written Amazon books called the Mystery Shopping Bible. There really isn't one central place, right? So it really is, there isn't one central place. However, obviously the mystery shopping groups that I'm mentioning, The IMSC, is again, it's not something through the government that she's been licensed to, say these are legit companies. But for example, Pam, if she promotes a company for shoppers, right, in her group and in her email list, it's going to be a company that she feels is legit. She can't guarantee it 100%, right? But she feels she'll know who the schedulers are, what the company's about, or whatever. So there's an element of, it's really the Wild West. I mean, it really is you and Google, but I say you and Google, but again, right, what's the shorter way and more organized way to get started is through the Facebook groups, right, through the IMSC, the Mystery Shopping Coalition, right? Well, through me, right, in the sense that the list that I'm going to give you, right? It's a fluid industry. I mean, some companies have gone bankrupt through this COVID stuff, to be honest with you. And some have popped up that are new, doing virtual stuff. So it's a very fluid industry, but the tried and true are at the end here, exactly. So what I was going to say is before I just quickly get to the shops. So there, and again, the way I started, because I was finding it overwhelming once I signed up for 20 or 30 or 40, I thought, well, how am I going to check 40 job boards every day? Like, you know what I mean? That didn't make sense. So definitely getting the emails, signing up for their emails is obviously, it's a good way to get, like I say, shops that you're interested in. You can choose by distance or by type. So in this case, online, call, or whatever, right? Okay. If they have that option. There are a few, and again, it's a fluid thing. So there's a couple of job boards. There are others, but that I used to use, but they seem to have also dropped off. But the one called Gig Spot is one that is, again, it's an aggregator of. So the companies have them listed on their job boards, but also on these aggregators, right? Consolidating. And this one called iSecret Shop. In fact, last year, more and more companies are going to this company, and they also have an app, which is actually wonderful. And actually, and in that, before I get to the end with the list, if you don't mind, I want to show you, because I used to do mostly in-person shops, so they don't have tons of call shops, but they do have, they'll have some, and I think they're going to have more, as stuff goes on with COVID. Which is not bad for us, right? But basically, so I'm online, but there's also an app for this, right? So they have, again, a lot of physical shops. They may have some in Mexico, I don't know. But in terms of the online...
One second, Silvia. I know you mentioned to me, like right now you're in Switzerland. You can log on to these websites, and even though you're registered as a Canadian, if you happen to be in Switzerland, you can see, if I want to do an in-person shop, what's around here? So you can literally search by your current location. Correct. And it will tell you, this shop, we have a job available store in Zurich, for example, or whatever city.
Yes, and in fact, they had one like that, but I'm not going to go to Zurich, but they had one in one of the companies. Correct, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And there probably are a few in Cancun, because it's a tourist area, Cancun, or even Playa del Carmen, right? So it's very possible. Again, what you focus on expands, right? I'm not looking for Playa del Carmen physical shops because I'm not there, and I'm not going to, I'm not registered in Playa del Carmen, but there certainly could be. And there are, and then I'll get to the list. There are international companies that almost certainly have some in Playa physical shops if you want. So I just want to show you really quick. If you look on the left-hand side, it's not. That's my lifetime earnings from this company, almost $8,000. That's legitimate money they paid me. Yeah. So, and if you look on the left-hand side, they'll have web phone shops. Okay. And so essentially, this actually, again, I say company, or it's a great portal. Now, people might not like this, but there are funeral home, cemetery, telephone shops. I know that sounds crazy. But there's another example that who would think that there's such a thing, right? So it's a shop, and you can just see it has the information, it has the scheduler, it has the dates they'd like it done, it has the time, whatever. And then you just, and you can see it's in BC, it's Kelowna. It's actually a Canadian shop. Yeah. So you can see it kind of gives, what you're supposed to say, blah, blah, blah.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Even though
Yeah.
the board itself is not Canadian, the iSecret Shop is like an international website, correct?
Correct. Exactly. That's what I mean. So they have now again. This company has they post American and Canadian shops. However, it is possible they have international ones more and more because more and more companies are using the iSecret Shop. Platform to post their shops. Exactly. So you have
Got
to
it.
you have to play around with, right? And you
Got it.
can see available shops.
So this one would definitely be
and
a
it's
website you recommend that people register on because they may not be
yeah,
registered to those specific companies. Um, so,
exactly.
so, so I mean, but when the listed company pays you, do they pay you through iSecret Shop in this case? Do they act as an aggregator? And do they
Yeah.
act as
So in this case.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So again, in this case, most of the pay has always come from my secret shop. So it sort of has it. Yeah. And again, they'll explain, again, like there isn't one rule. I wish I could say there's like one rule or one whatever. But like I said, you they don't hide anything. So it's all there. But I mean, I just want to, again, and we'll get to my list, but you can see here, this is from last year, but it's got my pay, I don't want to go fast, right? It's got the type of pay, Sobeys, and it's not secret. Winery, I did. These were physical shops, right? Giant Tiger, Sobeys, Pioneer. So this was a shop that I did at Walmart. I did a lot of work for them. Why did I do a lot of work for them? Because it was easy money. And again, I would pick up, shops on the app, and they were physical shops. But anyway, so I just wanted to show that, and you can filter searching shops. So yeah, there might be even shops in Spanish. Actually, this company has had, believe it or not, some call shops in Spanish. I remember seeing them. I remember thinking, oh, too bad I don't speak Spanish.
Got it.
So I actually know they call shops where you have to speak Spanish.
Got it.
So
well, that's
okay. So
that's interesting. So yeah. So I mean, yeah. Let me see. So that's one. So you have a number of website listed there. I mean, this is really great. I'm wondering how I could.
Yeah.
So this is really huge. Like you could do an ebook and charge money for this, to be honest. And I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd like to. That's my goal this summer.
Yeah.
But no. But charge $1 million. But no. So just really quick. So
maybe you know what? So here's what I'm thinking, because I don't expect you to just necessarily give this out for free. If you know what, we're gonna provide your email address, and anybody who's interested can email you. Yeah. And then you can decide if you want to charge like a reasonable amount, because you've compiled like resources that it would take them. I don't know what it would take somebody to basically
exactly hours and hours
do this on their own.
Hours,
Yeah,
hours and hours of. Oh, that's what I mean. Hours. It's exactly like
you're giving them.
There are ways to shorten it. Yeah, there are ways to shorten it, but
because you've been in the industry now like 5-6 years. But what I find fascinating about this industry, it seems like, a lot of times when people are looking for work from home opportunities, one such job that comes to mind is, being an English teacher. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, even at the minimum to get a TOEFL certificate, I think you're looking at like the minimum number of hours you have to invest is 120 hours to get like the most basic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's not the cost, but it's the investment of time, right? So I feel like something like this industry, for somebody who wants to start making money de una vez, like, not wait, another 4 months to make money, or however long it's going to take them. I see that like there are virtually no barriers to entry. Anybody could get started, started applying for jobs, start doing something like, quickly. And now, of course, this kind of resources that you put together, this would be very helpful to somebody wanting to get started. Because otherwise, you'd be kind of like trying to figure it out on your own. And it's taken you a number of years to figure out even, like what all these different hotspots are where you can get the jobs and how to get the jobs and all that. But bottom line, it's a very legitimate industry. It's been around for a long time as, the in-person mystery shopper. Now it's all moving online. Which presents an opportunity for so many people, stay-at-home moms, people who are wanting to live overseas and are looking to earn income in US dollars while living in Thailand if you want to, or if they want to, or wherever else.
Yeah, I wanted to pick up just exactly, and so I'm not going to go through every one, but I do want to show a couple because I think we've got a few minutes
Sure.
to, you know.
Sure.
But I mean,
Yeah.
essentially, yeah. So what I did was this was actually a good exercise, you know, preparing for this because I mean, I talk about this with actually, not a lot of friends, but I've actually had, in terms of my personal story, like I actually have a friend who, well, 3.5 years ago or so when I was, so it would have been like the winter of. Yeah, 3.5 years ago, she's actually a business owner. She actually owns, I mean, actually now 3 flower shops in London, Ontario. But we were talking and she to come to visit me, and I had already been getting more and more into it. And that's when I was pregnant with Joshua, and I was very like sick. I had a lot of, well, all day sickness. And so I was really doing less law because I just couldn't think and function, but at least I could sort of do the mystery shopping because it kind of required, I say, less thinking in the sense like, you know,
Sure.
like sort of legal thinking. And anyway, I talked to her about it. So I'm always happy to talk to people because I'm not embarrassed or ashamed about it. She knew about it because her store is a franchise. So she knew that she would get mystery shopped every month. She didn't know who the shoppers were, right? So but she thought, she listened to me and she thought, oh, okay, maybe I'll try to. So I did the same thing for her. I said, okay, you know, these are the top 20 companies and again, you know, I catered it to her though more. These are more international and call shops. For her, I said, you know, these are the shops in your area in London, Ontario that are really, you know, that are generally good. They, you know, whatever. So she got into it, same thing, kind of thought, whatever. She did like 1 or 2 shops. And then essentially, so that was January of whatever that is, like 3 and a bit years ago. I mean, essentially within 3-4 months, she was actually doing it as I say, like a second full-time job because she, long story, she needed, her and her husband were going through some legal issues and they needed actually to come up with like a lot of money for lawyers that they didn't have cash in. So she actually started doing it and was doing actually some call shops as well online and doing, you know, physical shops. She ended up making by month 3 because she took it seriously, but essentially she would drop off her 2 kids at school, go do about 6 hours of shops and would make about $1,500 a month from the shops. And then her husband started doing it because he was making an extra 1,000 or, you know, same thing, 1,200 or whatever. So they ended up in that year making enough to pay for the law, you know, so for the lawyer fee. And then now she doesn't have time. So I mean, it's like a real story, and you know, it's like, right?
It's like USD. So yeah, so even for somebody who's wanting to just supplement their income,
exactly.
maybe they already have a salaried position and they just want that extra little bit of money on a monthly basis. And again, what I like about this, it doesn't require any upfront capital from you, but it really, and in fact, I believe you had a warning in there that if you're being asked for money upfront to get jobs, that's a red flag.
Right, it's a scam. Don't. It's not like don't send me a check or whatever. Yeah, those are total scams. I mean, I don't want to sound those are total scams, like other scams going on in the world right now. But yeah, that's a total scam. Where did that? Yeah, like don't send money. Yeah, so like I said, most, especially in the call shop industry now. You don't have to spend any money up front. Like I said, you don't need to invest in any kind of equipment. You don't have to get certified. Now, some of these companies still have old information in their portal. There used to be this thing called, or there still is, like the MPCA or something, or MSPA, Mystery Shopper or something associate, a professional associate. You don't have to. When I first started, I thought, well, how do I get certified? Like you do a thing for an online test for $25, but you don't have to. I mean, so yeah, there's really no upfront cost. Really, just having an internet connection, a laptop or whatever, a Chromebook. And just doing it, right? And just obviously investing some time in, in the setting up the accounts and then, looking for work and then doing the work, right?
Which you would do anyway, whatever job you were to take on. But like I find whatever kind of activity you were gonna start participating in. But the nice thing about this is, like, again, the barrier to entry seems pretty low. It's just the investment of time in getting yourself registered on the different websites, which you can help people. You provide this wonderful resource here, which
absolutely,
like I said, you know what, Sylvia, I'll leave it to you. Like, let people email you, whoever is actually interested, and you can decide, if you want to charge some reasonable amount for your effort in putting this together. I'm going to leave that to you, okay? I know you were considering potentially starting even like a sort of a coaching program, kind of where you can actually handle people. Now that's something
Yeah,
that you're not quite there yet with that, but perhaps in the future.
correct.
Again, I would encourage people to get in touch with you. We're going to provide your email address, but if you want to say your email address right now, Sylvia, do we want to?
Yeah, I mean, I put it at the end, and like I said, this is not formal, but I'm happy to send this to you. I mean, again, I'm trying to get like a blog and online. It's right there at the end. Hello at lifeonthefly.co. It's not so that if you go to the domain, there is a sort of a sign up. Again, the website is not like it's not finished.
Developed
Right?
yet.
But you
That's
can
okay.
sign up, and that's an easier way for me to capture your email, because I actually do want to start doing regular emails in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Sort of bi-weekly, just kind of tips and advice and this kind of information. But I also feel that instead of doing like a course, because I really find that it's going to sound silly, it's sort of like a personal trainer, that unless you need, you're paying somebody $50 an hour 3 times a week to do it, you can do it on your own, right?
But when you're just not gonna do it, my dear. That's why we're doing a live webinar tomorrow for the Get Started with Crypto. That's why I like my live webinars, and I recognize, Sylvia. I wanted to provide as much content as possible in this 1 hour that we have together. I wanted to at least open people's minds to this possibility, to this field that I bet you a lot of people had no idea even exists, or it's fascinating to me. That being said, you know what? I would definitely encourage everyone who watched this, who's interested, to reach out to Sylvia. You're a super nice lady.
I'll send you my email if you want. Yeah,
you're quite the patriot too. But that's beside the point. And it's lifeonthefly.co, right?
Co, yeah.
Okay.
Can I just show you, just to end it? And and again, in preparing for this, again, all the stuff that trying to put it together. So there's a company called you can read it, Ipsos Global, and if you look, in fact, there's actually Mexico. Yeah, of course, they're huge. So there actually is, Mexico. So I mean, so for example, Spanish speaking. Now, again, I can't tell you. So you can see, you can choose Mexico for that. Now, I just want to go back really quick. So, I don't speak Spanish, I will soon enough, though. But if I log in, I just wanted to show you quickly, actually a couple of, probably won't be able to now, can't find the actual, my login. But there's actually a few, again, call shops that are available for this company. So they've got some call shops on their job portal, in English, but because I wasn't searching Spanish. So they actually have some current call shops, right? So even when I was looking at the websites that I pulled together that have call shops available, right? Definitely a few of them. Actually, this one too, the I Shop for You. It's a new domain. It used to be called Ann Michaels. They actually have, and again, unless it was taken, because like anything, it's first come first. It's a fast moving industry, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I just want to end it though with this. If I can just have like a couple of minutes to end. I mean, on the other ways that this can lead to online, digital type work. I just want to quickly log in if I can, and just show you. Now, if it's gone, it's gone. But I actually got an email, but I wanted to show on the portal. And this is American, so this is U.S. money. Even though I'm a Canadian, right? And they obviously know I'm a Canadian, But they let me see if it'll let me sign it. My internet's really slow. Let's see if it'll let me sign it. It's not pulling my account. It's not pulling it because it's not from my email. Okay, let's see if I can quickly log in. Okay, if not, I'll just do my spiel. See if it'll let me log in. Oh, it will. Okay. So yeah, and actually it's funny because it won't let me log in. So they actually have some phone shops available. A few of these do actually have phone shops available, and half of them are U.S. based. Okay, so what I was going to say is just really quick is that and again, right, if you give yourself kind of goals, right, like daily goals, weekly goals, and even if it starts with $10, right, once you get into a routine, right, of like finding the work through Facebook or through the portals, not spending 20 hours a day through the 50 portals, right? Because you're going to sign up for emails, you're going to find ways to get the job sort of quicker, right? Or get access to the jobs quicker. Basically, what's nice is that if you do good work, and even in 3 to 6 months, I say good work means you do the job, you use proper grammar, you even for 2 sentences, you use proper punctuation, proper grammar, you get the report on time, right? And you follow the instructions, right? I mean, it can really lead to, there's two other aspects of mystery shopping that, again, I didn't even clue in until, probably 2 years into it. There's what's called the scheduler. So the companies have schedulers that are making sure the shops get scheduled, where there's active involvement with schedulers, because some job boards will let you apply for them, right? But there's still schedulers actively checking that the jobs are actually getting done, right? And then there's editors, right? So then there's editors that review all of the reports, even the silly $5 phone call shops that I do, they get reviewed, every single one. There are about 2,000 every month that get done for the company that I work for. So even though I do verifying, my calls get verified by another verifier or another editor, right? And these are all paying jobs, right, in the industry. So shopper, as in call shopper, scheduler, and then verifier or editor, those are all three that, again, you're not going to get rich on them, but even if you have, and there's people who do all three, right? Basically, you can easily make, 800 to 1,000 to 1,200 for each one per month. And if you do all three, you can make that. Now that would be full-time job, it's probably, 40 hours a week, or, but you can easily, from all three types of work, right? Within the industry of mystery shopping. So, yeah.
And again, I think that the best part about this is the amount of flexibility. Like, you literally get to make your own hours. You get to work from home, location independent. Exactly. There are no real barriers to entry. Really, it's just up to you to start investing a bit of time up front to get yourself registered on the different websites.
Exactly.
And then you're gonna start getting notified about the jobs. So I think in your document you've provided tips, like literally step by step, for people how to get started, and I think that's so amazing. So Silvia, can they, if they email you again, you'd be able to provide this to them? Again, I'm gonna leave it to you. If you want to charge, you can think about it. Something reasonable. And then in the future, if they do sign up with their email on your website, once you have, let's say, like a more formal coaching program available, they can find out about it if in case they need more hand holding or something.
Sure.
That's something that you're willing to provide as somebody who's already been in the industry for 5-6 years. Okay, your battery's running low. Okay, Silvia.
Why is my computer running low? Okay. Let me check. Oh, technology and life. Okay, we're all going to the end here.
Well, you know what? We're already at the 1 hour mark. So Silvia, thank you so much for this. My pleasure. Come on. For this interlude into this industry that I didn't know anything about, really, and thank you for kind of opening my mind up and other people's minds up to this kind of remote work opportunities that you've been fortunate enough to engage in and be able to earn your living doing this. And really thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity in sharing your knowledge and your experience with us and with our audience. And everyone, if you've been watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe. Apparently that will help my channel. Just learning about YouTube, really. Thanks so much, Silvia, and I know you're going to join us tomorrow for my Get Started with Crypto webinar tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. Playa time. If anybody wants to join us, you can check out the intro video I posted to that on my YouTube channel as well. So Silvia, I'll post your email address in the comment section as well. And thanks again for being here with us, and thanks everyone for watching. Look forward to seeing you on future editions of Money Matters. Okay, cheers. Bye everybody. Bye.